Hey everyone, how's it going today? My name is Lamoura, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Online. Yeah, that's right. I'm back, at least for a little while. I'm not quite sure how this is all gonna go, but I've been in lockdown for quite a while and playing games, and I'm getting a little restless, to be honest with you. There are a few reasons why I'm doing this, one of them which I previously mentioned before. I'm playing games while in lockdown. I need some way to continue to engage my brain and not get as bored of just sitting there clicking away. So I figured I might as well diversify my bonds, if you will. Second reason is that my other channel that I've been working on still going strong and I'm really enjoying it, but because of the nature of doing retrospectives and reviews and topical discussions about games, it's forcing me to play a lot of games in order to have that backlog of topics I want to talk about and cover. Which means, again, I'm playing a lot of video games. And I figured, well, if I'm going to be playing them, might as well put them somewhere and let people enjoy my experience with those things. And categories B, subsection A of that same topic is because I'm playing so many games, because I need to keep track of my thoughts and my notes and everything like that, I've been having a lot of journals and loose pieces of paper everywhere. My desk was a mess. I didn't know how to organize it and keep everything tidy. And so I kind of sat and thought, I'm like, what could I do to upgrade this system? And I figured, why not use my other channel, my Lamoura channel, as a video log archiving sort of space. So that's kind of part of the reason. Now, the main reason, I guess you could call it that, is that Final Fantasy XIV Online is actually going to be getting a patch fairly soon where the developers are going to be shrinking the main story. They're going to be streamlining the main story is what I mean to be saying. So they're going to be cutting out a lot of the fetch quests and the back and forth that you need to do in the base game as it is right now. And I kind of want to have a way to preserve that experience for people who may not have known about it before. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV Online has had such an interesting development history. I think that we don't want to lose a part of that to history when things change. I mean, just look at Final Fantasy XIV Online 1.0 before it was considered a Realm Reborn. I digress. I'm going to jump into this and then start explaining some more stuff as we go through. This first episode, this introductory point, is going to be a lot of just exposition and explaining what I'm doing and what I plan for this series. So just be aware. If you want to skip over the character creator, the class selector, me explaining a lot of that stuff, feel free to dip out now. My feelings won't be hurt. Truly it won't. Next episode is when we get into the story, and that is really the main goal, is to make our way through the main story quest of Final Fantasy XIV Online. I'm probably not going to do too much of the side questing, raiding, hard mode dungeons, and get all the best weapons. As you can see, I've already been playing. I have 180 hours into this game as of right now with this character, Nia Denvo. She is my, I think the race is called Viera. Yeah, Viera. And she is a white mage, currently level 57. I have finished the main 1.0 story quest and had started working on some of the expansion content. Now with that, there's the 2.0, I would call it, the Realm Reborn. That was the popular main game. Then they came out with some smaller expansions like A Realm Awoken and Through the Maelstrom and such like that. I'll try to put a graphic up on screen so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. And then they started rolling out some of the larger expansions that you may have heard about. There's the Heavensward expansion, there's the Stormblood expansion, and the Shadowbringers expansion, which have been critically acclaimed since this game has come out. Some say that it may be one of the best, if not the best, Final Fantasy stories to come out ever. So I'm personally, that's why I started playing Final Fantasy XIV, was to experience that kind of joy after playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I got partway through. I finished the 1.0 story quest, started working my way through some of the lesser expansions, and somewhat enjoyed it. Yeah, it's enjoyable, but you can definitely tell it's not as high quality as the main story quest is. And I just figured, why not do this, you know? Again, I'm reiterating and talking circles right now, but I figured why not have a place where we can remember this all and enjoy the journey together. So with this character, Nia, she is my main character, and I'm not going to be playing her much in the next however long it takes me to record these videos, but she'll always be there for later. When I catch up my new character that I'll be playing with you guys on this channel, I am going to play that character up until the point that she is around level 57 and has done as much of the main quest as Nia has done. At that point, I will switch back over to Nia and we'll continue our journey through Heavensward and Stormblood and Shadowbringers with this character right here. So the character I will be playing will be a white mage, will be used to those mechanics and everything through this Let's Play. So when we switch over to this character, who will look the same, will be named almost identically, you won't almost even notice a difference. I know that sounds really odd to some people, but like, why would you just play the same class that you've spent 180 hours playing? It's because I enjoy it. She is, to me, my perfect character. I don't want anything to change about her, so I'm not going to. So let's just start a new character. We'll load her current appearance because, like I said, I like her that much, and we'll go from there. Hopefully, and fingers crossed here, I'm going to need you guys to send out all your prayers and your spirit bomb energy that I don't get disconnected nearly as much as I was yesterday when I tried to record this. Something about either my internet or the server was so bad. But here we are in our character creator. Actually, you know, just because this isn't one of those things where we're trying to rush into the main story in this episode, I'm actually going to create a new character and then we'll reload her appearance. I kind of want to, for prosperity's sake, go over all the options that we have here. Now, one thing you do need to know, out of all these different races that we have, none of them are class locked, none of them are stat locked or anything like that. You won't get any bonuses for choosing male or female, Hur or Elizin or Lalafell or Mikote or Rogaden or Ara or Hrothgar or Viera. Any class can play, or any race can play any class, any job. They all have the same base stats, so it doesn't matter at all. One thing I should mention is, when we get into this, if I choose the Hur, which are like the human of this game, we confirm here, each race has 2 different clans that you can choose from, and they have like different backgrounds. Now, I will mention, just because I did say it before, right? If I choose the Midlander, let's say, it does have starting attributes right here, right? It doesn't matter. So these guys, the Midlanders, are 22 strength, 19 dex, 20 vitality, and then it goes down for the Highlander for 23 strength, 20 dex, 22 vitality. You know, so you see there's small differences. In the long game, it means nothing. By end game, those stat differences are so minuscule, it means literally nothing. I think for the highest of high stat boosters, like min-maxers, maybe that has a difference of like 0.003% in damage, but it's so minimal that it just doesn't matter. So I just want people to be aware of that kind of thing, that I'm not purposely misleading you for the sake of just lying or anything like that. So hold on, let's just go back into this, because I do want to just go over some of the other characters just so we are aware. So like I said, we do have the Hur. They are the humans. I'm not going to be reading this whole paragraph on the left side. If you want to, feel free to pause the video and do such. But again, there is a male and female option for these characters. The Elizins, they're like the elves of this game. They are huge. Look how tall they are in comparison to the humans. I'm using quotes there. And then you have the female version as well. You have the Lalafell, which are the dwarf, gnome, short people of this game. They are cute, as I've heard some people describe them. I'm not a fan, to be honest. I've never been a fan of the short-statured kind of characters in any games. Dwarves, little people, whatever they're called, Lalafells. You have the Mikote. For the next race, they are the cat people. They have tails and ears and whatnot. They even have a male version as well. You see a lot of the Mikote around in Worlds. A lot of people like them. You have the Rogaden, where they're like the orcs of this game. Huge, hulking, massive, muscly kind of guys. And then their female versions just as tall as like the Elizin. Just actually, the female version is a fair bit taller than them. And they do have the thicker stock as well there. Then we have the Aura. I think they were a newer race introduced in one of the expansions. Don't quote me on that. I joined in once all the expansions were released and all the races were here, so I might be talking out my butt here. I'm still relatively new to the game, but they are like the dragon people. They also have the tails and like a bunch of scales and stuff like that. Tails and scales. Now, every race does have a male and female option until you get to the two newest added races. The Hrothgar, which are male lion type race. What's his name? Kimimari from Final Fantasy X? I honestly can't remember. I haven't played that game in damn near like 10 years. But that's what this race is essentially, if you want to think about it like that. And then you have the Viera, which is the race that I will be playing, the bunny girls of this game. I love them. First introduced in Final Fantasy XII. I absolutely love this race. I think they are so adorable, and I just want everything to do with them. So going off of that, we'll actually go back once again. I know I just keep on exiting and entering this thing, but we'll go into the load character appearance. We'll load up my character preset, as we see here, and we'll start going into some of the more in-depth details for the character creator. You have your height. If you are interested in changing the height, I kind of like a little bit taller, but just about average here for my Viera. She still hulks over almost everybody in this game, except for the highest Hrothgar or the taller Elizin, the elf people. So she's still going to be tall, and to normal humans, they do have to look up to her. She's 73.7 inches tall. Of course, the bust size. I don't think that's a ridiculous bust size for these characters. I just think, I don't know. I just think aesthetically it looks more pleasing on this character because they're not like huge bulbs that are like sticking out past their armpits or anything, or hanging down towards her belly button. I think they are a reasonable size for a person in this game. Of course, you can go for your skin color. You can choose pretty much whatever. Because of the Viera race that Viera? Is it Viera or Viera? I know which race I'm playing, but there's the two different factions. I'm playing the lighter skinned one. I think they just kind of work with a magic kind of based style that I'm going for. Then you have your hairstyles. Of course, I like this one with the bangs kind of swooping back with her hair here, but the ponytail is the main seller for me. I just love it. But you can choose a bunch of different ones. They're not as many as some of the other races. The first introductory races have actually had hair expansion packs. The Viera have not had that yet. So we're hoping, some people are at least hoping, that eventually the Viera will have a new set of hair that they can get through the stylist or whatever. But I like this hairstyle. I'm going to be keeping it. And then your hair color, really cool thing is you can have your base color if you want, just change it to whatever gradient you want, but you can also have some highlights and change that, so you can really kind of express yourself, however you want. Of course, you have your face. Only a few presets here. I just chose the first one, default. Your jaw, very few selections here. Not too much on the way of sliders for this game. A lot of them are preset sort of things if you want them. Iris size, you can either go large or small. Of course, for a bunny girl, I'm going to go large because it makes her look a little bit more like a bunny, I guess you could call it. Eyes, same thing with the hair. You can choose your base color eyes for both of them if you want, or you could have odd color eyes, so you can have the heterochromia, whatever you want. I'm just going to stick with the one shade. Eyebrows. Now, the thing with my character is she has a little bit bushier eyebrows. Those will stick no matter which one I choose here, because under facial features, I chose that option. So if I was to go back up to the eyebrows now, she actually has a bunch thinner eyebrows. But for this character, I liked having a little bit bushier eyebrows. It just, to me, again, looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So we'll go back up. Nose, only a few options here, not too many. I will admit, I don't know if all the races have them, but she does have more of an upturned button nose, which kind of right now, the way the highlights are going, it looks like the rabbit's little snout or a cat nose or something like that. I think it works, it looks cute, but I don't know if that was intentional on the Viera or not. Mouth only has 4 options. You can choose your lip color if you want to have different color lipstick. I'm just going to choose with a nice like lip balmy kind of pinky. Ear shape. Now, with every other race, obviously this is going to be different with ears on the side of the head, but the Viera have different bunny ears because they are that type of race. So I like the shorter, stockier kind of ears. These ones just stick up a little too much. I don't like the floppy, and then these don't have the little tuft on top that I like. So these are just right about the middle of the road with the length at 49. I don't know why I chose that number. It just felt right. Now, as far as the facial features, you already saw, you can choose the eyebrow thing here for this race, but they also have a little gem that they can put on her forehead. But because she has bangs, you'll never see it, so I didn't do that. I did choose to put a little bit of eyeshadow on this character. I just think it works for her. It's very light and subtle. She also has, actually, this one's the wings for her eyelashes. You can barely see it, but it just makes them look a little fuller. And then I put a little beauty mark on her, because why not? Also has the choice of only 2 options for tattoos. You can kind of mix and match however you want. I chose not to. Tattoo color, obviously. And then the final thing is the face paint. She just has, I think, a little bit of blush on. Nothing too major, just adds a little rosiness there. But you can go a little crazy. You can go with like X's, half face, full face, just across the eyes, blah, 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 stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much all you have. Color as well. And then you have the choice of the voice. It doesn't really do anything. This game doesn't really have voice acting. There's a few select scenes where there are voice acting, but your main character will never talk. Everyone just kind of talks to her. In game, she does technically talk, I guess. She'll emote, and sometimes her mouth will move, but you'll never hear or you'll never see any kind of text going across the screen. And that's pretty much it. That's what we have for our character. She is starting in her first little race attire. Every race has their own starting gear. So this is the Viera starting gear. Skimpy little thing. It's cute. I think the Final Fantasy XII girl had that, but who knows? Again, it's been so long since I played that game. Now we move on to our date of birth here. They do have their own Eorzean calendar. It means nothing. I don't think you get any birthday gifts, I'm using air quotes here, for your character on that day. So it's just choose whatever you want. You'll have to realize that they have like the first of Astral and Umbral Moon, because I think they do have 2 technical moons in this universe. But essentially, if you look down here, you can see what month it is and what day. So the 3rd Astral Moon is the 5th. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's as easy as that. There's still 12 options here. But my actual birthday, my Lamoura birthday, is May 9th, so I'll do 5/9 for that. There's no bonuses, like I said. Then we move on to our character's patron deity. This is, again, nothing. It means absolutely nothing as far as the game is concerned at its current iteration. You kind of just choose one. There's a paragraph of text if you want to. I like purple, personally. You can tell by my hair color. And so we only have 2 options here. We have Brigot. Real quick, the names in this game are so fucking stupid that I will not even try to pronounce them, because it's just like my tongue can't form those syllables. I will be making up nicknames for people throughout this entire game. Anyway, so we have Bree or Bry or whoever this is, and the only thing that I really look for is what their symbol means and what their weapon or what they're often depicted with. And so he has a 2-headed hammer and his symbol is the hand. Stupid. I don't want that. Then we have Ral over here, my boy Ral, or girl Ral. It's a boy. So his symbol is a striking meteor, and he's depicted as a mage just carrying a staff of bronze. I mean, I'm playing a white mage, might as well use a mage's, even though that's more like black mage and like meteor magic and whatnot. But it's purple. It's got a striking meteor. I like it. I'm gonna choose it. Okay, this is where things kind of get a little confusing. It took me a bit to understand it, but once you kind of understand what's going on here, it's easy as cake, and you'll be like, oh wow, that actually took me a while to get. But I will admit, I had to look up videos and guides to understand what was really at play here, so I will try to explain it as simply as I can. Every character and every race in Final Fantasy XIV can play any class, no matter what. The only way, and at any time I should mention too, if you choose Gladiator at level 1 first starting off, you are not stuck with that class at all. You can choose any of these other classes: Pugilist, Marauder, Lancer, Archer. You can jump right into a Disciple of Magic and the Conjurer, the Thaumaturge, or the Arcanist. The only thing that changes when you choose one of these classes is right down here, your starting city. There's 3 main starting areas in this game. For the Gladiator, you start in the main city of Ul'dah, same with the Pugilist. The Marauder starts in the main city of Limzo-Lominsa, so the Lancer also starts in the main city of Gridania, along with the Archer. In the Disciples of Magic, you'll start in the main city of Gridania, the Thaumaturge, main city of Ul'dah, and the Arcanist, main city of Limzo-Lominsa. It's as easy as that. So at any given point, if I'm playing White Mage on this character and I start with a Conjurer, that is my class, right? I have to think about what class I want to play and then what job I want to eventually be. So again, going through it, the Gladiator's class will eventually be the Paladin. The Pugilist class will eventually be the Monk. The Marauder class will eventually be the Warrior. The Lancer class will eventually be the Dragoon. The Archer class will eventually be the Bard. The Conjurer class will eventually be the White Mage. The Thaumaturge class will eventually be the Black Mage. Now, the Arcanist class is the only special class like this. It will eventually turn into 2 classes at level 30. The Scholar and the Summoner. 2 different classes. The Scholar is the healer and the Summoner is the DPS. It's the only thing you need to know. Okay? Again, at any given point, I can change my class. Whatever I want, I just need to equip the proper weapon. So if I want to be a Conjurer, I have to put on an oaken staff of some sort. There are some other different variations. But if I wanted to switch over to the Pugilist, all I had to put on is some knuckle weapons, and instantly my class will change. We'll get into that a little bit more as you see the game. But as far as this character creator goes, the last thing that we need to cover is just some of the options for seeing your character. Now, as of right now, I can swivel around her and she's staying relatively still. But if I wanted to see how she looks in motion, you can choose the unique option for pose. And she'll cycle through some animations, some pre-canned animations, and you can kind of see what she'll look like as she goes through. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think every class has a different set of idle animations, and I think they all change their emotes in-game as well. I don't know if that's completely true, but I think that's what I've heard. But I'm going to keep her as the just regular standing pose so that we can see her front on. As far as what we have here, we have her attire. You can choose her base starting clothing. You can see what she'll look like eventually as she gets higher level into her job. So you can start to see what those look like. So we have the Paladin, what the Paladins will usually look like, what the Monks will eventually look like, what the Marauders will eventually look like, what the Lancers or the Dragoons will eventually look like, what the Bards or Archers will eventually look like. We already saw the White Mage, but what they look like. The Thaumaturge, what they'll eventually look like. And then what the Arcanist or the Summoner or the Scholar will eventually look like. Now, the thing that you have to be aware of with the Viera specifically is that most headgear doesn't work on these characters. Now, you may notice, like, on the Arcanist, she has the little horn crown. That's fine, it works. But on the Thaumaturge, usually they're depicted with a giant pointy witch hat and a face covering over their eyes. That's not the case with the Viera because they cannot wear headgear. They can wear forehead gear, but no hats or anything like that, no helmets or anything. So classes like the Gladiator... The heck is flying over my house right now? Those freaking jet engines. Oh, is it Trump doing the Blue Angels thing? Anyways, so yeah, the Gladiator has like a head crown thing here, but like the Marauder doesn't have a helmet. Usually these classes, the Dragoon doesn't have a helmet. Usually these classes will have something. The Bard doesn't have a pointy hat. So just be aware of things like that. And then you can see them in their small clothes for whatever reason that you may want to see them like that. But I'm going to keep it on their normal starting race attire because that's how we'll see our character. Then coming down over here, you'll see that you have a few options. If you want to change your environment, you don't want to see your character in this floating ether space. You want to see her in what real world or in-game locations will be. You can choose this sunny, beachy side area during, looks like the beginning of the day here. So it's like nice, cool, breezy type of area with windmills in the back and forestry in the background. Then you can also choose the time of day. So if you want to choose it to the evening, see what your character looks like when she's bathed in the cool light of the moon, feel free. You also have your foresty area of Gridania, so you can see what they look like amongst all the trees and whatnot. And then, of course, going into midday as well. You also have our deserty area of Ul'dah, and you can kind of see what they look like in the warm light of the desert. And then you can also see the cool moon of the night. And then finally, you have the indoor area where you can see them bathe in the warm light of a lantern instead of the sun. So this is what they'll look like when they're indoors, and it generally looks like this all the time, regardless of the time of day. But we'll just change it back to the ethereal plane here. And that's pretty much all I have. I know that was a lot of information, but that's more for me, so that if I ever want to talk about this game 5 years down the line, I don't have to go back and replay it, I'll just understand it. And especially if there's new players who want to get into the game, there's a lot that's really not explained, and having someone, an archive like this, really helped me get through the game, and I hope it can help you as well. Because I really did have to do a lot of outside research. Other than that, in this next episode, we are going to be jumping into the main story. We're going to accept our character. We're going to jump right into it and go from there. One thing I should probably do is just select our world. I'm going to choose the same world that my other character is in. That way, I can actually jump into my old free company, or guild as most people know them, and get some extra bonuses like XP gain and things like that, and access to people who might want to play with me. Probably won't be doing that because most of them are out-leveled, but it's there if we have the option. I just want to join in my old server so that I know people and we can go from there. Now, as far as the character name goes, I debated this. I thought about naming the character Nia Denvo or Denvar or something very close to what we had, and I think that's a good option. If we're going to be switching over our character to my old Nia Denvo, I might as well make the character very similar, right? That way we get used to it. So I'm going to keep the same main name of Nia. That way when characters are referring to us, they still say Nia, and that's not something we need to get used to. But the surname is going to be something different, I guess. And if you just give me half a second, I'm going to think of something here. Let's go with something like Falel. No, Falel. Yeah, Falel works. I like that. Okay, cool. So from here, I'm going to end this episode. Again, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me. I know this was quite a long one, just explaining character creation and the story quest of what I'm about to do and blah, 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 blah. But the next episode is when we jump into the actual world and get started with the main story quest and all that fun stuff. So definitely stick around. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you played Final Fantasy XIV or if you're going to start playing it, let me know. Let me know what you know. If I don't know something, definitely give me some information, because I'm still new even at 180 hours into this game. So this is going to be a long one. I can't promise I'm going to put up every day or be consistent, but I'll try to put up as much as I can, because again, I do want to play this game. I already am playing this game, so might as well put it up. Other than that, I'll see you guys later, because my voice hurts. Peace out, and much love to you.